Are you tired of the non-stop hustle and grind? Welcome to Life in Business, the podcast for business owners who want success without sacrificing life. I'm Libby Langley, your host, award-winning no BS straight-talking business coach, Amazon best-selling author, and the queen of easy business. Join me to learn simple and practical strategies for growing your business, your profits, and your confidence, and for having fun too. Here's this week's episode. Hello, welcome to another episode of Life in Business with me, your host, Libby Langley. I just feel like I need to make more of a DJ voice when I say that, but I don't think I have a DJ voice. I need to be a bit more, hi everybody, and I can't really keep it up. But anyway, nice to have you here. Thank you for joining me again and let me be in your ears and sharing some good, solid, dependable business advice with you. It's what I do, it's what I'm known for, and it's what I enjoy sharing with you. So today, we're going to go back to basics. Now, business basics, there are about 1 million of them, really, that I could cover off. But I wanted to kind of just ask you lots of questions today, actually, that will help you think about where you are in your business and where you want your business to go. So these are business basics that you need to know. And they're business basics that you need to know even if you have been in business for donkey's years, like me. There are times, absolutely, in my business when I have kind of lost sight of some of these basics and have, kind of followed the shiny object a little bit too much and invested in things that were not right for me and were a complete waste of money and overcomplicated the business, overcomplicated things. And it's really important for all of us to kind of take a step back, to regroup and to think about these basics, because these basics are the things that are going to make you the happiest and make you the most money. And ultimately, that's why we're in business, right? Because we don't want a job, we don't want a boss, and we want to just make some money. Simple as that, right? Whilst helping people. So it's very, very easy as well to get into bad habits and to kind of like build a job for yourself rather than being a business owner. And I did a couple of episodes ago about whether you're a business owner or you own a business. Are you a business owner or a busy bee? It's well worth a listen, actually, because it's about the difference between working on your business and making proper business owner decisions versus just basically doing a job, right? That if you work it out on an hourly rate, is shit compared to what you'd get if you were actually in a company getting paid to do this job. So go back and find that. That's well worth a listen. But it's kind of dealing with these bad habits that we can get into as business owners and losing sight of the things that really matter. So that's what I'm going to go through today. And I'm going to ask you lots of questions that I kind of want you to think about. And if you want to feed back to me, then that's amazing. You can message me on Instagram. I'm at Libby Langley, or LinkedIn. If you just search me under Libby Langley on LinkedIn, you'll find me there. But message me and let me know what kind of comes up for you and what you think about this. So my first thing to talk to you about is the very first and very most important business basic is you. Okay. Now that might surprise you and you might think, well, I need to think about, what I do and how much I charge. But actually it's not. You are the very first business basic that matters and the very first thing to consider in business. So why are you in business? Why did you set up your business? What was it that you wanted from your business or you wanted to achieve? And if you think about that question, you'll have some kind of answers. Well, you'll have answers that come up for that. And then you can compare those answers to where you actually are and what you're actually doing day to day. And it might be you're spot on, but it might be you're way off course. For me, the reason I started my business was because, it's a long time ago now, nearly 12 years, but I was in a job that I had loved. I'd progressed well in my career. I was paid very well. But it became like a battle of wills. And I was really unhappy. Oh my God. And I was so skinny. Yeah, I'd lost a lot of weight. I deliberately wanted to lose a bit of weight, but I'd lost a lot of weight. I was like 7 stone 13, which is tiny, is really tiny for a full grown woman. So I kind of was in a really unhealthy place. And I started my business because I didn't want to be working in that environment anymore. And I wanted to be able to have a bit more freedom and have a bit more flexibility and just make my own decisions. And for me, that was the motivator for starting the business. It wasn't, I do this thing and I'm really good at it, I'd like to do it for myself. That was kind of secondary. It was that I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. I'm making my own choices here. And I used the skills and experiences that I'd got through my employment to launch the business, which initially was social media training, strategy training, and coaching. So that was the motivator for me. And over the years, I've got into bad habits and I've lost sight of that for sure. This freedom, flexibility, choice. And I kind of, when I first was going along the path, I basically just kind of created the same thing for myself as I'd left, right? Except I had all the responsibility on my shoulders. So I'd got an office, I'd got staff, and I'd become a manager, and that was the thing that I didn't want to be, right? I wanted to be independent and I wanted to make these choices. So it's easy for us to forget these business basics of why we wanted to do this. And something else in the same kind of topic there is, who are you and what do you want to do? So who do you want to help and with what? And that can flex and change over the years. But for me, the core has always been, I want people to be better at business. That's kind of always been the message. And it started off with social media training because that was better at business marketing and ways of getting in touch with people. But I've always been really interested in the kind of nuts and bolts of business, particularly profitability, because, oh my goodness me, so many businesses waste so much money. I had an email from a client just this morning saying they're just going to buy these 10 different domain names just while they're deciding on what to do with their rebrand. And it's like, oh man, but that's like 200 quid that you don't need to spend, that you're going to spend. And I know it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's this kind of clutter that we build up. And it's forgetting the business basics of, what is it? What do you stand for? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to help people with? And you don't need 10 different domain names in order to be able to answer that question. So these bad habits and almost this kind of panic that we get into and overcomplication is absolutely something that everybody does. So you need to step back from that. But what really matters to you? What do you want to help people with? What do you want to be known for? And that is the first kind of port of call for the business basics, even if you've been in business for years. And this is an exercise I have to do quite regularly with myself, because particularly with my neurodivergent brain, there's loads of things I'm really good at. And there's loads of things that I can help people with. And I have to keep coming back to what is the core fundamental. And it's to help people be better in business, to be happier, to work less, to earn more. Really, really simple messaging there. And yeah, I can help you build a new CRM. Yeah, I can train all your stuff in social media. Yeah, I can analyze data like there's no tomorrow. But that's kind of not they're the conversations that I have once I'm working with a client, right? They're not the things that I lead with, because they're the detail. They're all the detail, and they're the kind of diversification. And if you're sharing all of that stuff with your audience in your emails and on your website and in your social media, it's going to be really, really difficult for people to know what you do, and therefore it's going to be hard for you to get customers, right? Which is not something that we want. So ask yourself, why did you start your business? Who are you and what do you do? What really matters to you? What do you want to help people with? And what do you want to be known for? That's your first business basic. And then we can talk a little bit more about the practicalities of that. So how do you want to work? How do you want your day to look? How do you want things to be structured? What ways do you enjoy working? So you can work one-to-one, you can work in groups, you can work online, you can work face-to-face, you can build a series of passive products. If you haven't listened to my episode about passive income, the truth about passive income, go back and listen to that. Just as a little aside there, if you're thinking of building passive income streams. I think it was 2 episodes ago, I think. So, what do you kind of enjoy? Do you enjoy being with people all day? Is an hour enough for you and your energy? This is so fundamental to how you shape your business that you've got to think about these things before you kind of dive in and actually do anything, because it makes such a difference. I like working one-to-one. I've done many group programs over the years, but I like working one-to-one people because I know I can make more of a difference. I know we can digress into what actually matters rather than what people are saying they're thinking. I know that I can really get under the bonnet of a business and make a difference in a much shorter time than I possibly could through a group program. And to me, that matters. And to me, that's interesting and that's exciting. And it's a conscious decision for me to have a business that isn't really scalable, because I like working with one-to-one people. I want to continue working one-to-one with clients, with business owners, and I only have a certain amount of time, and I only have a certain amount of time that I want to work and that I have the energy to work, right? So I'm really limited in the number of clients that I can work with. And so that puts a cap on my income. But that's a conscious decision for me. I don't want to, because I've experienced it, I've tried it, I've done it, I've had success with it, and I've helped a lot of people, but it doesn't float my boat, particularly light me up, is, to have a group program where you can have 200 people, 300 people, 5,000 people in it. That's like a scalable business, scalable income, scalable business structure. But I don't enjoy it and I don't want to do it. And so that's the conscious decision. And that's a decision that you need to make too, is what do you actually enjoy? How do you want your experience with your clients to look? How do you want this to be? And do you want to do it? Do you want to outsource it? Do you want to be the business owner and the person who delivers it? Or do you want to just own the business and somebody else does all the work? How much time do you want to invest in this? Do you want to work 9 to 5, 5 days a week? Or do you want to work 10 till 3, 3 days a week? It means that the business needs to be structured differently. And again, these are business basics that you have to ask yourself and you have to address before you kind of start doing anything. Yeah? And this is not a procrastination exercise, please do not think that. But it is kind of something that you could, when you're driving, you mull over this, right? And driving is a really good time to kind of let your brain think about this sort of stuff, and just make these decisions about how you want the business to be. Because if the business isn't lighting you up and isn't delivering the things that you enjoy in the way that you want to do it, in accordance with what you really believe in and you really want to help people with, it's going to be really hard work. And so you might as well just get a job and get paid annual leave and all the other good stuff that goes with having a job. So the kind of delivery of what you do, is really important to think about how you want that to look. And then we need to talk about the business basics of money. Money is ultimately the reason that you're doing this. There's nothing callous or calculating about saying that. you're in business to make money. And when you've made enough money, if you love it enough, then you can do it for free. Okay. But you've got a mortgage to pay. You've got mouths to feed, certainly at least your own mouth to feed. You've got a car you've got to run. You've got a holiday you want to go on, all this stuff. So you need to make money. Okay. Pure and simple. And so how will you make money from your business? So you've thought about kind of who you are, what you want to do, the reasons that you started your business, what matters to you, the way that you want to work, one-to-one, group, online, face-to-face, passive, product-based. You've thought about all of that. Now you need to think about, how much do you need to earn? Okay, that's your first question. How much do you need to earn? And then how much do you want to earn? Because they are different, okay? But how much do you need to earn in order to live, right? And do all the things that you need to do. And then what would a really super life look like to you? So that's what that's kind of a goal stretch, right? But one is essential living. One is a goal to set. And then you have to do some kind of maths. And this is what I help almost all of my clients with, is get into the real kind of nub of this matter. And it's about whether the way you want your business to look and feel and be, and what you're proposing to charge, with the third element of how much you need to make and then how much you want to make, do they match up? Yeah, it's, if you think of a Venn diagram, you've got your three circles of what you want, how you're going to do it, how much you're going to charge for it. And with a Venn diagram, you get your little crossovers of the circles. It's the bit in the middle that is the only bit that actually works. So where all three circles cross over, that's the only bit that actually is going to make a business successful. And so if you're thinking of charging, I don't know, if you're going to work with one-to-one with people, and you want to work for 5 hours a day, so you can see 5 clients in a day, I would argue that that's too much, but let's just say it's 5, and you're going to charge £10 a session, right? These are not realistic things, but it's easy maths. So that's a potential of £50 a day times 3 days a week, which would give you £150 a week, which, if you times that by 4, is £600 a month. Possibly enough, probably not enough. And £10 enough. £10 an hour is absolutely not enough for your services. But like I said, it's easy maths for us to work out. Okay, so fine, you got £600 a month coming in, assuming you can get this many clients at this price point for this service, right? But let's assume that it's all going according to plan. And so you've got £600 coming in. Brilliant. That might be enough to cover what you pay for the mortgage and food and all of that. Super duper. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for not a lot of money. But also, that's not all profit, right? And this is where the really just so important business basic of knowing your numbers comes in. And because from that £600, right, a month, you've got to put some money aside for tax. Might not be eligible for tax, it might not be enough money, but you've got to put some money aside for tax, which is probably about 20%. You've got to think about the software that you're going to need in order to be able to run the business. And even if it's just the basics of email marketing software, 30 quid a month, it's still a cost, right? Your payment processing, there'll be fees associated with that. There'll be the costs perhaps of some training or some professional membership that you need to pay for. There will be costs for an accountant to do your books, if you choose to do that. You might find that, because all you're doing is delivery, right? And so the 2 days, if you want to do 5 hours a day, 3 days a week, then the 2 days, there's still admin that needs to be done with that. So you might want to outsource that. So you might want to pay a VA at £30 an hour. All costs, right? And so then you might find that actually 50% of that £600 you're making a month is on costs. So then you're only making £300 a month. And so actually you have two choices. You either put in another day of work which you said you didn't want to do, or you up your prices. Now, I've used an unrealistic price of £10 an hour for a service I've used. But do you see what I mean? You've got to do this cost exercise and work out whether the hours that you want to work, the service that you want to deliver in the way that you want to deliver it to the people you want to deliver it to, for the costs that you need to run your business, whether that all mashes together in your Venn diagram. And this is much more practical this side. So the first kind of couple of points that I mentioned were about you, really. So why did you start your business? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What matters to you? Who do you want to work with? What do you want to help them with? That's all about you, right? That's all really internal, kind of personal stuff. And then we get a little bit more practical with the delivery of this. Do you want to do it one-to-one? Do you want to do it in a group? Do you want to do it face-to-face? How do you want your days to look? How many people do you want to work with? How many hours do you want to work a day or a week? How much money do you need to make? And how much money do you want to make? And then, all right, how do you do it? Here are the practicalities. How much are you going to charge? How much is it going to cost? How many people do you need in your team? Or how many bits do you need to outsource to people? What's the cost of running the business? And what's your profit margin? And that third point there is just the most important, this kind of profitability side of things. Because I've had clients come to me before and we've been through this exercise and I've had to say, you're never going to make any money. You're never going to make any profit, because if we factor everything in, you're not charging enough. And so you have to charge more or change the way that you do the delivery. And it's kind of heartbreaking to have to deliver that news to people sometimes, because, we all care about our businesses, but it sometimes takes an external source who is not emotionally attached and who can look at things objectively to really help you get over some of these blocks that you might have that you just can't see yourself, and to help you with the business basics, even if you've been in business for 10 years. Yeah, there will be bad habits. You will have forgotten the basics and you will probably have overcomplicated things. And that's the kind of thing that I help my clients with day in, day out, is looking at these things so that we've got the simplest, most effective, most profitable, most enjoyable business model possible. And that's what it's all about, So if you want my support on this, if you want to talk to me about your business, then you can do. Of course you can do. I have clients and I like to work with clients. And although I'm not able to have limitless numbers because of the way I've set up my business, then I can always squeeze a cheeky one in. So the best place to start actually with this is to have a 30-minute mini strategy session with me, a quick clarity boost. And in that 30 minutes, we can work through some of these basics and I'll be able to identify the kind of biggest, most glaringly obvious gaps that need plugging or things that you need to address. And these sessions, these 30-minute sessions, I do a few of these every week. And they are, for the £50 they cost, they are just phenomenal value. And because my brain works so fast, I will give you so much information and so many points that you are able to change that you will get 10 times back the value of the investment of £50. So if you're interested in, kind of whet your appetite a little bit, this talking about these business basics, and you think, do you know what, it would just be really helpful to talk through these with someone, then go to libbylangley.com/boost and book yourself one of these sessions. It's only £50, 30 minutes. And it'll help you enormously. And the reason that I'm talking so much about business basics today is because we do forget them. And by forgetting them, we make things more difficult for ourselves. And the core of what I believe in is that business should be fun and business should be easy. And it's not easy every day, right? Sometimes shit happens and sometimes you go through a difficult period and all of this. But in the grand scheme of things, it should be easy and it should be fun and it should be profitable. And I want to help you get those things right and make sure that your business is exactly what you want it to be. And just these business basics are invaluable, particularly if you're new to business. I mean, crikey, wow. I mean, I work with quite a few franchisees who've bought into existing business structures, existing business brands. And they don't necessarily know how to run a business. So this stuff is absolutely invaluable for people who are new to business because it shortcuts stuff and it stops you having to go through all the, oh my God, the learning curves, the mistakes, the trial and error that those of us who are more seasoned have been through. And if you've been in business for a long time, you'll know mistakes that you've made, but you'll also know that sometimes you do forget these things and you do lose sight of why you started doing this in the first place and what really matters to you. And that's what hopefully I've helped you with today. There's lots of questions that I've asked you, and this might be an episode that you listen to more than once. If you're out walking your dog now, you might listen to it actually when you've got a pen and paper next to you, so you can pause it and you can write down the answers to some of those questions. So you've kind of had a mini coaching session today there, cheeky, which is great, but it will help you refocus and know that you're kind of on the right path in your business. And if you do need my help, if you do want my help, then you can message me and I can send you the link for that. I'll put it in the show notes, but it's libbylangley.com/boost to book yourself a 30-minute quick clarity boost session, a mini strategy session that will help you enormously just kind of get refocused on stuff. So business basics covered off. I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to know where you are in your head. So as ever, get in touch with me. And I will see you next week when your business is in just a slightly better place than it was this week. So thanks for joining me. It's been lots of fun as ever, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to Life in Business. Please make sure that you subscribe or follow so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's show, please leave a review, as it helps others to find the podcast and spread the word that there's an easier way to do business. If you want to chat with me about today's episode or suggest a topic for the future, I would love to hear from you. You can find me on Instagram @LibbyLangley. See you next week.